This is no longer a fight for belts. This is a fight for the throne of the fight world. UFC vs PFL Bellator. Dana White vs a new empire. Stars vs stars. Legacy vs revolution. The war has just begun. And the world is watching. In combat sports, power shifts with punches. Champions rise. Empires fall. But tonight? A new chapter began. Not just for fighters. Not just for fans. But for the entire sport. Welcome to the new era of global combat. For years, Cris Cyborg destroyed every division she touched. Power. Technique. Fearlessness. PFL didn't just get a champion. They gained a global icon of female combat. Imagine a future, Cyborg vs Kayla Harrison, Cyborg vs Larissa Pacheco, potential super fights the UFC could never deliver. Then came the moment the world wasn't ready for, a champions vs champions mega card. Multiple belts. Multiple divisions. One night that promised destruction, history, and legacy. They didn't call it an event. They called it a global takeover blueprint. This wasn't a promotion versus promotion. This was ideology versus ideology. UFC, power centralized. Control absolute. Take it or leave it. PFL, freedom to box. Freedom to negotiate. Freedom to rise. For the first time in decades, fighters had an alternative path to greatness. And that changed everything. Every war needs artillery. And PFL loaded its cannon with the most powerful ammo in online media. Jake Paul. Love him or hate him, he brings attention. Conversation. Chaos. And in combat sports, chaos sells. Jake Paul entered PFL with a mission: disrupt the industry. Break the old model. Bring fighters money, freedom, and leverage. For the first time, fighters saw hope. And the world saw a movement. While the headlines went Ngannou and Jake Paul, a silent force prepared for dominance. Usman Nurmagomedov. A precision striker. A controlled assassin, carrying the Khabib legacy, but rewriting it in his own style. To many, he's the most complete lightweight outside UFC. To some, he may be the best lightweight in the world. And now, he stands ready to prove it, inside the smart cage. When the dust settled, fans didn't just see names, they saw weapons. Collision: Francis Ngannou, the hardest puncher ever measured in combat sports. Collision: Usman Nurmagomedov, the Dagestani prodigy carrying Khabib's legacy. Collision: Cris Cyborg, the most feared female striker of her generation. Collision: McKee, the chosen one of Bellator's golden era. Collision: Ryan Bader, Patchy Mix, Johnny Eblen, Kayla Harrison, and more. Suddenly, the question wasn't, can PFL compete? It became, can UFC survive the new era of global competition? Francis Ngannou walked away from the UFC not just for money, but for respect, freedom, and power. They said he was finished. They doubted him. They laughed at the idea of him facing Tyson Fury. Then he dropped the world heavyweight champion, and the world stopped laughing. Now, aligned with PFL, Ngannou became the symbol of rebellion. A fighter who broke the system and won. And PFL made one thing clear: Ngannou wasn't their fighter. He was their general. In the world of combat sports, history isn't made quietly. It erupts in moments that shake the foundations of the fight game. For decades, UFC ruled the battlefield. Champions rose, legends fell, yet no one ever came close to challenging the empire. But then, a rival didn't just step forward, it brought an army. This is the story of the night PFL and Bellator changed the fight world forever. A merger that didn't just create competition, it created war. They weren't building a fight promotion, they were building a combat monopoly. PFL wasn't satisfied bringing tournaments, seasons, and smart cage technology. They wanted power. Legacy. Dominance. So they made the boldest move in modern combat sports: acquire Bellator. Absorb its champions. Combine elite rosters. and challenge the UFC head-on. Overnight, the battlefield transformed. What once was a dream became an army of global killers.